In this program, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the most basic structure for conditional statements, which is called the if statement. So we're going to get a little bit of user input for this. So we're going to import the scanner, and then we'll create our scanner object. Scanner input equals new scanner system.in. Now, one thing that's going to be important for this program is to know the size of a golf ball. So final double, let's do golf ball is 42.67 millimeters. So I'm just going to put that as a comment here. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a size value, and we're going to measure precipitation. So if you have a difficult time spelling precipitation because we're going to be using it at output, definitely copy and paste it. So what we are going to be doing here is we are going to be making some if statements that require something called a Boolean expression. So like a numeric or mathematical expression will look something like this. Say like 4 plus 7. So we've got two values here, the 4 and the 7, and the plus is the numeric operator. So what is happening here, we're doing an addition. So a Boolean expression will kind of look like this. We're going to check to see if 4 is equal to 7. Now, when we're using this, we're going to take a look at why this is important later. When we're checking to see if something is equal, we use double equal sign. So here, this is the Boolean operator. So the result of this is a Boolean is true or false. So we're going to go down and now let's prompt the user for the size of the precipitation that they observe. So system.out.print, enter the size of the precipitation. Hey, all right, I can just use that. And we'll specify that it's in millimeters. Okay, and then the size is going to be input.next double. So we can get that there. So we've got our size of the precipitation. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a bunch of Boolean expressions, and then based on those, put some different outputs to tell the user what is going on with the weather system. So if the size equals 0, here's what we're going to do. So we start a conditional statement typically with an if. Then we put a Boolean expression, so we're checking to see if the size is 0. And then we're going to open curly braces here. And these are for commands to be performed if true. So if we got a true result out of this, we're going to do the stuff that's in here. So system.out.println, there is no precipitation. So if we run this program, if we put a 0 here, it'll say there is no precipitation. If we put a 5, nothing happens because our only Boolean statement checks to see if the size was 0, so no precipitation. So let's put in if we have a value larger than 0. So we do that like this. So if the size is larger than 0, and we'll put this in a little bit of a different style. So we're going to forego the curly braces, and we will put the opposite of this. So here we have there is no precipitation. Here we have there is precipitation. So no curly braces required for one command. Now, I typically, even though I might have one, I typically use curly braces instead because it very clearly shows you where the commands are. And sometimes I want to add something in, and you might cause errors if you're going with this style. So you can pick either one, but I like curly braces, so that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of this. So we've got, this means, so this is larger than. Now we'll put a smaller than. So if the size is less than 0, and again, I'm going to be doing curly brace notation for most of this. So if the size is less than 0, I guess not only is the precipitation not non-existent, but it's negative existent. So maybe I'll put system.out.println what black hole precipitation. So we're getting, it's so negative that it causes a gravity well and pulls all light into it, I suppose. So what we're going to do is we're going to put another thing here, though. So this is going to be a 2-line. Oop, I see an error there. This is going to be a 2-line result here. So the other thing I will do, maybe we'll, if this has been a problem frequently, we'll just write not again. So we've got equals, larger than, smaller than. So this is smaller than. Okay. So why do we use double equal sign here? So double equal sign is the Boolean operator to see if something is equal. So, however, 1 equals is not a Boolean operator, it's an assignment operator. So this is what we use to say something gets the value. So don't ever put those in your if statement or it will not work. If I do that and run this, you're going to get this. So it's saying that we've got a double value here and it's expecting a Boolean value. So it'll even give you an error and won't even run that. Okay. So we've got equal to, larger than, smaller than. Now, say if the size is larger than or equals, so this is another one that you can do, larger than or equals to 5, so 5 millimeters is an indication of hail. So we'll say looks like hail. Okay. Now this is, again, this is at least or greater than or equal to. Both of those are fine. We'll say if the size is less than or equal to 7, I'm going to keep my spacing the same, although it'll run the same regardless. So sometimes people will say this is at most if you get this in kind of like a word problem. So if it's less than or equal to 7, we'll say you don't have to worry about damage. So like it's not, the precipitation isn't large enough to cause any major damage. Okay. Now, what we'll do here is we're going to do the opposite of this. So if we're trying to cover every single number in existence to say whether they need to worry about damage or don't need to worry about damage, the opposite of less than or equals, so this will include the number 7, is a number greater than 7. So if the size is greater than 7, we get the opposite of this. So instead of you don't have to worry about damage, you do have to worry about damage. So you can see that these are opposite expressions. If one is true, the other is automatically false. If we'll go a little bit larger, the size is larger than or equal to 25, so at least 25. Then we'll say, and this is commonly the case, watch out for thunderstorms. When the hail gets that size, there's often a thunderstorm. So now we've done these all by comparison to numbers, but we can also compare to values. So if the size equals golf ball, sometimes people talk about golf ball sized hail, then what we're going to say is exactly what I just said. Golf ball sized hail, exclamation point. So if we run this, we're going to get a bunch of different outputs. So let's say I'm going to put in 42. So here, there is precipitation. It looks like hail. You do have to worry about damage and watch out for thunderstorms. If we put in the exact amount, 42.67, 42.67, we also get the fact that the hail is golf ball size. Okay. So that is making a comparison to a variable. You can also do math here. So if we wanted to check to see if it's double the size of golf balls, I don't know what we would write for this. Maybe I'll use a golf term here. Double bogey hail. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but what we can do is we can also use some mathematics here to do this. So the only other Boolean operator that we haven't seen is negation or not. So what is the opposite of this? We've seen an opposite here, less than or equal to or more than, but what is the opposite of equals? So this one is not equals. So not equal. And the negation of this would be no golf ball sized hail. Okay, so we can do this, and this is going to run in most situations because we're not commonly going to have exactly that value. So if I put 3, we do get the fact that there's no golf ball sized hail. The other place that we can use this is sometimes instead of doing something like this, where we do a negation like this, so this is an opposite, we can use an exclamation point to do the same thing. So if I was going to make the opposite of this statement here, I can do it like this. So I'm going to wrap the Boolean expression in parentheses and then precede it with an exclamation mark. So this is negation. So if the interior here is true, it's going to make this false. So however, if this is false, so if it's not watch out for thunderstorms, then this following thing is going to be a true statement. Same thing in this situation is doing less than 25. So I'm just going to put don't watch out for thunderstorms. And this is rarely a place where you would use this, but I mean, if you're trying to do the opposite of something, you would do the same expression sometimes preceded with an exclamation point. So this covers every primary Boolean operator that we're going to use. It's going to get more complicated, but you can refer back to this program frequently because it has pretty much anything that you would want to do with setting up an if statement.